And welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another edition of Turmoil Podcast. Introduce us. All right, anyways, we're here with Jake, myself, Court, and believe it or not, Gooch, who claims that he will answer in more than 5 words. So, we'll see what happens with this, actually. So, we got a few things that we're going to talk about, but I'm going to pass over to Jake because I need to go do something quick.
He needs to go do something quick, so it's me. You know, the voice that you never get tired of hearing. As Adam said, we are here with Court, Angus, and Gooch. Give me a Gooch noise to signify that you're here, Gooch. Yeah, that's what I'm fucking talking about. We're here for Thirstcast. I guess this would be 3 because Jay never aired the one where Angus and Adam went at each other's throats. Maybe this
after it was recorded, so it's irrelevant.
It wasn't irrelevant because I recorded it. But anyway, maybe this is the one where it happens again. We're going to talk about various subjects, including just the general tumultuous relationship of Turmoil, backstage politics, you know, stuff you don't really want to hear about if you're interested in being, you know, excited about OCW.
Things you need to eat to deal with constipation.
That's right. So,
no, I'm not talking about any of that.
Well, before we go into anything deep before we go into anything deep or controversial, I want to go to each and every one of you, just for any general thoughts about OCW in its current state. And I guess we'll frame this around the fact that I think it's pretty clear now, Cassidy Hayes quitting OCW. You know, everything that he does, everything that he's done on the Xbox side, and he does have both consoles, but everything that he's done on both sides, he's done. He's tired of OCW. He's tired of WWE 2K, and he's out of here. So we'll frame it with that. Just general thoughts about OCW, where we are today. We'll start with Adam. What do you think, man?
I had no fucking clue that Cassidy Hayes was done with OCW.
Even better.
Well, he quit. He still no, he didn't quit. When did he quit?
Listen, quit infers that, and this is a pretty contentious way to start the podcast, but Cassidy Hayes essentially is no longer a full-time OCW competitor. The way that it's been explained to me is he's going to be somebody that's, you know, part-timer, something like that. So this happened to me, and I have more comments myself going forward, but I'm more interested to hear. Basically, you hear Cassidy Hayes is done with OCW. Things are moving on both sides of the console spectrum, Riot and Turmoil. So what do you think about OCW today, where you are, April 13th at 11:05 p.m. Eastern Time?
Oh, I'm actually very shocked and uncertain of what to say. Selfishly, the first thing I thought of is when are Cass and I going to have our tiebreaker match now? Up until this point, I was, even with, you know, some issues on Turmoil, I feel that things are going relatively well and haven't really had too many complaints about the actual content itself. So you kind of just dropped a bit of a bombshell on me, and I'm not necessarily sure if we're being serious right now, if this is actually real or not.
No, we're being serious. I want the point of this is I want to wrap around all the way to everybody that we have on Thirstcast here, and get to me at the end. So we'll stick with you for now, but this is 100% real.
Well, fuck. Cass, come back, please.
That's
actually all I got. Like, I actually don't know what to say in this moment. I thought this was just some bullshit.
So did I.
Oh, I'm gonna pass it on because I'm gonna go direct message Cass. Actually, that's what I'm gonna do.
Okay, interesting. We're actually going to go to Gooch next because I'm interested in hearing what Angus has to say, being that he's on the Riot roster. So just for the sake of consistency, we're going to go Turmoil to Turmoil. Gooch, you're on a podcast, man. Say anything you want to say, including what your thoughts are on the current state of OCW and Cassidy Hayes doing what he is doing.
Well, first of all, it's glad to be here. Episode 3. First time speaking to you and, well, yeah, just you. Current state of OCW, I like it. You know, our production is increased over the last year. Thank God. Especially on our pay-per-views. Would definitely look like the WWE of EFEDs, if you think about it. And that's it.
That's all Gooch has. That's all.
No.
Go ahead.
Also, like the constant influx of new characters. You know, it's always great. Some play, some stick around.
A lot of good new people.
I'm actually doing video content somewhat, so I'm glad about that.
Well, we're gonna get to your video content specifically a little bit later. We have a bit of a mailbag at a later point at this podcast, but just at the point of just like opening statements, we're gonna move over to Angus. Like I said, Angus, I'm more interested in hearing what you had to say about the current state of OCW, just in terms of general comments, and especially about Cassidy Hayes, just pretty much hanging him up. I
want to say something about Cassidy.
Okay, sure.
Sorry, Angus.
Look, my man Gooch cutting you off, man.
I'm being polite and say your shit, because I'm texting like 5 different people right now trying to figure out what the fuck is going on.
Go ahead, Gooch. This is a podcast time, man. This is free, uncensored. Go ahead.
It sucked because I really like his theme. And seeing him be a part-time wrestler is really a blow to the Riot roster.
Yes, it is.
Damn, that seems like it's based on Court's backstage commentary. It seems like, or in the background commentary, it seems like he agrees. Angus, one of my good friends in OCW. You're on the Riot roster with me. Cass is my mentor, probably my best friend, my first friend in OCW. So, interested to hear what you have to say. Go ahead.
Well, I want to do my due diligence, and he's done a fantastic job for most of his time that I was here in the company. Generally a stand-up guy, slightly weird, but aren't we all? Polite, does his work, gives ideas, always in on time, good content, good writer, clean player. A lot of good things to say about that. So I feel like, I just want to start it off by saying, sorry he's leaving, but we'll miss you. And also, I get it. It's a lot of work. It's sometimes very stressful. Most of the time, it isn't very fun, at least for me. But,
I'm being worked. I feel like I'm being worked. No. I don't like this. I don't like change.
And a lot of stuff is happening right now for me as well, because this seems like something that I probably should have aired with you guys before we started recording.
Asshole.
Yeah. I can delay the airing of this. I'm just in case I delay the airing, I'm not even going to announce the date that this recording is happening. But Cassidy Hayes, he's not leaving OCW. Like he's not just going away forever. He's just done. Like he's done. He's becoming a part-timer. He's becoming like a loose. He's essentially signing a Legends contract. Right. So Cassidy Hayes will never leave OCW because he's the GOAT. I had the same feeling as Adam did, and I'm like, this is live shit right now. Like Adam, I'm getting messages. Adam, I'm getting messages from Cass right now. Like you think that he's being worked, and I did the same shit last night. And and I can air this whenever the people involved are comfortable with airing it. I'm gonna just lay everything out on the line because we went through everybody. Everybody had their chance to say something. This is what I got to say. Cassidy was the first person to welcome me into OCW. He's the first person to welcome me into how things work. He DM'd with me, and he showed me how F.P.R. and ethics works and everything. Incredibly appreciative of everything that he had to teach me, and still to this day, incredibly appreciative. I have my own opinions about how he handles certain things. I don't agree with it. just because he's very aggressive in the way that he handles people that aren't exactly up to par, you know, like rookies, things like that. But that's fine. You know, you don't have to always agree with people. And I'm getting a message right now, Cassidy sending me a message where Adam's asking if he's being worked. And that's funny to me because literally last night is when I learned about this. Last night is when I learned that Cassidy was done with OCW. He uninstalled the WWE 2K game on both of his consoles. Yeah, no, he uninstalled it. He sent me like fucking videos where he's uninstalling it, and like it's crazy. So like he has a lot of things that he does, and he just dumped them all on me at one time. And in one spot he's dumping all this shit on me, and it's fucking frustrating. In another spot I'm sympathetic just because like this dude is the one that brought me here. Without Cassidy Hayes, I might just be another fucking rookie lost among the trees. So it's tough. It's really tough in my position where we are today with him. I didn't mean to start Thirstcast off with Cassidy Hayes and his big announcement. In kayfabe, he's going to work this out, and I don't know when this is going to air. So this may air before or after he works out his essentially killing his character on TV. On TV, but it's been an honor to work with Cassidy and TTT and all of the other facets that I've worked with him, and it sucks that he's gone, but backstage he really hates this game. He really does. And in the TTT chat, like I can tell you guys, leaking DMs.
I think we all do.
I mean, everybody hates the game, but I'll tell you right now, nobody hates this game like Cassidy Hayes hates this game.
Not even Bray.
I will put my foot down right now. Cassidy Hayes hates this game. Like if you,
that says a lot.
The way I see it is, if you hate this game to the point that you're going to quit OCW, which is the greatest EFED experience available right now, then I mean that just says enough in its own. But I don't want to spend the whole podcast on that. This is Adam's platform. I don't want to steal anything away from him. It's just you're not stealing anything from me. I'm messaging Cass right now, like, what the fuck is going on, Cass? I know you're frantically messaging him because this is the first you're hearing about it, because he's messaging me. He actually just messaged me. He's like, what podcast are you doing where you're talking about me? So we'll figure out when we air this. But anyway, I wanted to move on to a couple things about, this is the Thirstcast, and this is the Thirstcast that doesn't involve Redacted. So Adam is here, Jake is here, Court is not on PS4, but he watches all the shows and he's well involved, even though he has shitty comments about OCW as a product.
Listen, let's not make my personal feelings into an objective statement. I don't shit on OCW. I just don't enjoy it that much. Don't try to make me feel bad about how I feel.
Ladies and gentlemen, here we go. We're going off the rails early. This should be very short.
We're not getting off the rails because we're going to get to it early. We're going to get to it early about my opinion and Adam's opinion and Court's opinion. That's fine. We'll get to it a little bit later.
It's not going to be a gangbang.
But I wanted to start. I have two things that may last forever, just based on the commentary involved, and then I want to go to the mailbag, and then we'll talk about anything, including Court's comments a few days ago, that we'll bring up. So the first thing is feuds in OCW. This is something that not only Gooch, if whoever's listening, if you don't know who Gooch is, Lotus Flojo, Nick Betamax. Feuds in OCW. Gooch brought it up in one of the questions that we're going to get to later, along with just general questions that I get all the time talking to rookies. How do they work, or how do they affect things? Like what the general impact is of having feuds in OCW, and what the general status is of feuds in OCW, and how they could improve, how they could get better, what the comparisons are between real life and what we have here. And I know Angus has a lot of comments here, but I want to just go around the same way we did before. So I know you're reeling right now off the Cassidy shit, Adam, but just try and stay with me here. Feuds. I
didn't even hear the question, but I will pull myself away momentarily.
I know it.
I'm just gonna. What did you say?
I'm just gonna stick you with a few words and have you go with it. So,
Sure.
With rookies, with veterans, with legends, feuds in OCW, like how they could get better, what the current status is, what your overall vision is with feuds in OCW, cooperative impact of how it hits the product.
Feuds are the most valuable asset that any one person has to OCW. Like, I mean, you can tell a great story by yourself, but ultimately progress comes via the transition up the card or down the card, whatever direction you're going, I guess, or whatever general story you're trying to tell. But in order to do that, you have to have, communication with another person. And I just got out of a really long one with Code, so pretty much a break from the concept of a feud for a little bit. That's what I like to do. I prefer to be in a longer one, kind of take a little bit, see what's happening, and then move on to the next one. But it's so incredibly valuable to do these things because it gets you a lot more exposure, because it'll get you onto pay-per-views if you're having a good feud, and it also gives you a foil to work off of and gives you direction. That being said, I think that what could be done better to ensure that feuds work is to cooperate with another ongoing feud, not work directly with them, but have an understanding about, once this feud ends, what would be the next step potentially. And let's say top of the card title feud's going, and then you got another feud going on directly underneath it. Communicate with the people feud, and that way you can have a transition when necessary for one person jump up the card to challenge and the other person to fall down the card and search for another feud, but at least for that transition from number one contender to the title match. But yeah, that's my thought. I'm gonna go back to Tex and Cassidy. Okay, bye.
And a good example of that, just to interlude before we get to Gooch, a great example of what he was talking about between intermingling feuds is Code Jackman, for those that are active and informed. Code Jackman and B17, and Jacob Trance and Rex. Like, those two together are independent feuds, but then you work them into each other, and then the end of B17 and Code Jackman is the winner of our final match, which was one of the worst matches in OCW history. The House of Horrors is the number one contender of the CCW World Title. That directly coincides with Jacob Trance and Rex. No matter who wins, B17 and Code Jackman have a way to connect with it. So that's the kind of example of what he's talking about there. Just kind of reach out to people, just talk and make sure that everybody's on the same page. You may be 4 people in the same room, and it sucks to kind of, spoil whatever, but there's 60 of us here, and everybody pops in the viewing party. There's a lot of us that enjoy it. So that's kind of what he's referring to. And we're going to go over to Gooch. Gooch doesn't have a voice in OCW. Gooch is not on a lot of these podcasts. That's why I'm super interested to hear what he has to say. Go ahead, Gooch.
Well, it's like what Adam said. You have a good feud, and you can move up or down the card. Having a feud gets you on the pay-per-views, gets you a lot of exposure. People want to see what's your character doing, aka a draw. So I'm kind of doing something with Empress and Adam and Valkyrie. So yeah, it should be interesting. Hello?
Yeah. Hello. Yeah. Hello is right. Okay, well, I mean, short and sweet, but that's you could take a lot from what Gooch said. Just look at his specific situation where he is working with, like he said, multiple people that also have their own feuds going. So it's kind of a bounce off of what Adam said. Angus has a lot of comments on feuds and how they should be structured. You may agree or disagree with what he has to say. I disagree with what a lot that he has to say, but I'm still interested to hear it. So go ahead.
We all do.
Are we talking about specific feuds, or are we talking about the concept of feuds?
I'm talking about feuds in OCW, the current status of them, what you're looking for them, what you're looking for in them, and just how you would want them to go.
Well, okay. For just a second, I should mention that what I think are the best ones. Turmoil is quite a lot more coordinated right now, it seems, and the women's one is a fantastic explanation of what you were saying before, or what B17 was saying with combining people, and so it basically got the whole women's division involved, and it made them all seem important, regardless of where they were on the card. So now almost anybody is a viable and believable title contender, and that can't really be done with the men's roster because it's so deep, but that's an excellent example of what I was hoping to see from Fame, and just trying to grab these people and weave them together in ways that makes everybody look good. Now, it's hard to direct my thoughts in speech, but in terms of how I think feuds should go, I mean, there's not really any one way they should go. I just prefer to have an arc, and I prefer to have a start off of something else and an end that leads into something else every single time. That's really hard to do. That is really hard to do, especially with the Riot roster. It's full of faces, and there's barely any heels, and the ones that are in the main event, it's kind of locked out. It's quite difficult, but I think the best ones are the ones that either build off history, which is difficult to do if you don't have history, or you try to work people together in ways that make sense. Like, of course, the Rex and Jacob Trance one involves Aries, and then he's angry Mr. Sensation, and so there is their new jumping off point once it's the end of that, and then he burns down the Roadhouse, so that's Blaine's thing or whatever, and it's like it provides many jumping off points, so that when the next cycle, like a month or two or whatever, comes around, when that feud is done, there's another one that was already built, so it feels like like a story, like it's keeping going instead of just starting and then stopping and starting and stopping. And it's really hard to do when it's competitive fed and people are leaving and people are joining and all this stuff is going on, but that's the ones I like to have, and it requires a fair amount of planning and a fair amount of communication and spoiling each other, and I don't mind that because, again, I'm not really so much of a fan. I'm just kind of an employee. I enjoy more the writing aspect than being surprised by things.
I think having an individual podcast with Angus, knowing what I know about him, he could go on for fucking ages about certain, like character development and storyline development and arcs and all kinds of things, and agree with him or don't agree with him, and I do not, about the OCW product. He has a lot of interest. Well,
I didn't say it was bad. I just said I don't particularly enjoy it a lot of the time. Some of it's great, some of it's not. A lot of it's in the middle, and it's not like anyone else can't like it. I recognize the objective benefits, and it's funner to play when it's competitive and funner to participate in. I wasn't shitting on it or anything. I'm just telling you my personal feelings, and I've been quite tired and sort of, I don't know, disenfranchised lately anyway, so.
Fuck your personal feelings. Anyway.
All right.
That's just the interject. We're going to move over to the mailbag. It's not really a mailbag. There's not a whole lot going on. Just Gooch asking a bunch of questions. But I wanted to ask it in this general forum that we have because we're recording everything. First and foremost, and anybody can pipe up when I ask the question, how big is Sean McGee's dick?
I've only heard rumors.
He's black, so pretty big.
That was something else.
Yeah, I mean that's clearly a joke.
It wasn't as funny as I was hoping for.
Me too. I thought we'd have some good stuff, but now we're gonna get.
I'm not gonna talk about it.
We're gonna get tossed off the airwaves. Yeah, B17 doesn't want to conform to the stereotype that he already has. I understand that, and I'm actually. You're not going to hear this part of the podcast, but we're going to hear Mad Mike ask this question. I'll just ask it here just for sake of editing. If you had to work, I'm going to ask this to everybody here. So we're going to start just the same way. We're going to go Adam, Gooch, Angus, and then me. If you had to work...
Get my pen and paper in.
If you had to work with any of the OCW roster members listed below in a storyline or a feud... what angle / approach would you use? You don't have to answer for all of them. So just pick one here.
Yeah, we should probably just pick one or two so it doesn't take too long.
No, just one. Just pick one. If you had to work an angle or a feud of any of the following OCW roster members, which would you use? Damian Bourne, The Last Blacksmith, Talos, Nate Ortiz, Jet Draven, or Court Marshall? Just pick one, B17. Go ahead, Adam.
Right. Okay. Well, I would happily pick Nate Ortiz. Problem is, he is legend from a later generation, or far down the line, later generation. So it doesn't necessarily feel appropriate for me to face him. Better matches for him to have. Out of everyone that you listed, the most intriguing matchup for me would be Jet Draven. How good can be on the sticks. But that's also in lies the problem is there's not necessarily anything going on with him. And I think that if he had been a consistent contributor, someone who actually was around to do matches, then he would probably hold the title by now.
You cut out, who is it? Jet
Draven.
Yeah.
Yes.
But and I mean, the story that I wouldn't mind working is who is the girl on Turmoil would be the interesting storyline that I would want to kind of dive into because he's smooth. Right? Yeah, kayfabe way, definitely. Like Rex is more of a brawler. When you look at the actual Turmoil roster, Trance is gone. He's also a legend. He's a technical worker. He definitely has a spot to play in that. But kind of from a flamboyant, flashy standpoint, it's like, be a really good match, and we've had some decent matches before, so we're tied 1-1. Gotta have the tiebreaker eventually. So that's the most interesting one that I have.
I think that'd work. I just don't like in WWE when they go like, I'm out here entertaining people every night, because that kind of puts down the competition aspect of it. I'm sure you know that. You would just be like, who's the best? You wouldn't say, worker in a promo. That would be an interesting thing.
Yeah, that would fuck things.
I hate Dolph Ziggler for doing that every single time. He comes out and he's like, I try my hardest to entertain. I'm like, but you should be trying your hardest to win.
Well, and that's also something I've used as kind of a tool, just to kind of go. I'm going way off track here, but it's something I've kind of used as a tool as in my heel courts promos. Like as one of the biggest things in your character things is having a way to explain losses or having a loss out. And one of the ways that I've been able to do that with the Jitsu courts is by saying, like, the matches that I lose is that I'm making that person by getting them in the ring with me.
Right. That's really good heel work.
That I'm entertaining everybody else just by the fact that I'm in there. So,
right. And it doesn't break kayfabe, because in kayfabe, it's a heel bullshitting about losing, so it doesn't break the illusion of competition, which is important. I like that.
It's an interesting line to draw, but I wanna stay on track. I'm sorry about taking us off here. If you had to work with any OCW roster members listed below in a storyline or feud, which angle would you use? Damian Bourne, Blacksmith, Talos, Nate Ortiz, Draven, or Court Marshall? Gooch! Tell us what you think.
Court Marshall.
Ooh.
Cause Canada sucks.
I'm not kayfabe Canadian.
That's actually a great kayfabe reason to have a
fight. No. Hold on. Court Marshall's not Canadian, Gooch. You need a better example. You need a better explanation.
Gooch gets a Scott Steiner promo. Fucking steers and queer.
Gooch, you need a better. I kind of want to give Gooch like a dedicated 75 seconds to cut a promo at the end of this podcast. But for now, Court Marshall's not Canadian, Gooch. Why would you pick him?
That'd be relevant.
Because, on a personal level, I like Court. He's a cool guy. He has that. Okay, he's not, but.
B17, you had to ruin the only person in OCW who'd compliment me.
I don't want you to get a big head.
You have a big head yourself.
No, we were talking about this last night. I have no
1.25.
But anyway, I have this generic black call. He needs to feud. And since he's a weeb, Japan versus America.
That would work.
Like, we'd be like, Court be like, listen, Betamax. If I win, you're gonna get deported.
That would work really well for heel Court. I absolutely would do that. As a face, that would be way too mean. Everyone would cheer for you and hate me.
I don't know though. People might still be USA.
Well, the redneck shitty fans might, but what
OCW has is redneck shitty fans.
Well, I like to imagine the crowd as WWE crowds. They're like not super territory racist. They're not going to cheer for some black guy getting whipped by Jerry Jarrett or something. But it's like WWE, where if someone comes out with a flag and then someone else comes out with a non-American flag, they're going to cheer the guy with the American flag, even if he's being a dick. See John Cena.
And wait. Then Bray is going to save the day. We're going to have a match called the Emancipation Proclamation match.
You can't bring Bray's chat black power gimmick into kayfabe.
Isn't his black babe?
No, that's just in chat. He does it on the show. He's all about Japan. In the chat, every time a black guy wins, he's like, "Black excellence."
We're steering into dangerous territory. We need
to slow.
No, he literally says that.
Adam and I had the same idea. We need to back the fuck off of all of this. Gooch has had an interesting say, with the whole weeaboo plus heel Court. That would be fun. Yeah, so we'll jump over to Angus. Angus, I'm going to ask you the same question. If you had to work with any of the OCW roster members listed below in a storyline or feud, what angle or approach would you use? Damian Bourne, Blacksmith, Talos, Nate Ortiz, Jet Draven, or Court Marshall?
I think I could probably do all of them.
Do it yourself.
I just don't. Yeah, that would be difficult.
Yeah, that's the best one.
I don't want to pick somebody who's already been used. I was going to pick Jet because, like you said, I think he has a lot of potential because he's got the whole I win gimmick. And I was telling him a long time ago, you don't have to make long promos. All you have to do is say, I'm too good to talk on the mic because I do it in the ring and then leave. But that's still a promo. People still recognize you're there now, even if your gimmick is being quiet. And so Gooch picked me, he picked Jet, so we got Nate Ortiz, who's way too high on the card for me right now.
No. Don't do that. He said if you had to work with any of the OCW roster members listed.
But then you just pick Nate, because he's the legend, right? Although I already worked with him as Chef.
Not always, because Nate Ortiz is not 100% applicable to every single member of the OCW roster.
But if we're speaking as pure shoot, I mean, Damien's in and out, Jet's out and out. Who else was there?
Blacksmith, Talos, Nate Ortiz, and Court Marshall.
This is quite a difficult choice. I think Talos would work. I think he needs to establish himself more. He's kind of got a monster heel thing going, but he's just, again, in and out, kind of not super established. Needs some momentum and go. Blacksmith is really good, but I'm a face and he's a sort of face. I could do a really traditional monster heel face thing with Telos, but I just feel that's kind of uninteresting. So
he needs a mouthpiece.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. I kind of honestly want to pick Jet again because he would be the perfect foil of really good on the sticks, not much on the mic, so we could parlay that shoot disparity into kayfabe, and that he says I'm all talk, and I'm like, well, you don't matter, and have the kind of back and forth between that. And Damien also, I would say I could definitely do something with Damien. I just don't really know what his character is right now. He's suspended. But if I were him, I would have come back and gone face against Mystico because, he took the tag titles, and that's a great reason to turn face. And then you can kind of start establishing a basic character because he's been waffling for a long time. But the problem is he kind of burned his bridge with Mystico, and so he buggered that up. So I really don't know. I think I would go Jet He's PS4, so probably Talos and then Nate if he wasn't kind of locked up in main event feuds. Not quite sure how I would work it other than him basically just saying you're unworthy, blah, 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 fame stuff. Because I don't know if we'd have that much friction. Because he's not really loud and in your face and annoying like Pew and kayfabe, and he's not putting people down like Dupre. He's just kind of in the background going, ugh.
Well, what's important what you said, just a quick side note on Damien. Anybody that doesn't know, his whole suspension, he could have been promoing the whole time. He was not ever suspended from promoing. So if he's going to say that he was suspended, that's why he wasn't doing RPs, that's just an excuse for him being late.
He even said in chat that he was like, I'll RP when I get booked, and I think Trans was like, but then you'll never get booked.
Exactly. So the statement, I will RP when I'm booked, is an inherently losing strategy in OCW. That's just not how you do things. It says it in his suspension statement. You are free to promo to not, as to not disrupt any other storylines during your suspension. He decided, I'm just going to shut everything down. I'm going to completely just be a fuckwad and not just do anything during my suspension. And then I'm going to bitch about not being booked right when the suspension ends. So I don't want to get into Damien because I'll be...
Can I cut in for a second, just because I gave a bad answer to that question?
Sure.
I would realistically, I think I'd work with Talos. I don't think he's bad. I think he's a competent writer when he does it, and he's competent in the ring when he does it. I just think he needs to be established. So if I was going to have a feud with Talos, I would definitely have to write stuff down and figure it out beforehand and try to get some heat into it. Because I think just jumping into it wouldn't have heat. But I think he has the potential to establish himself more because he seems fairly reliable and, with it and normal.
Yeah. That's. I'm not going to edit it after my answer, but it's great. That's exactly right. And people, once they get to this point, the rookies that I'm working with and the rookies that are just joining OCW, that if you're hearing this, whenever it airs, that's very important to note, that how people view you, and you can kind of take Talos as an example. And go with it from there. So from here on the mailbag, I just kind of want to open it up to general forum. I don't want to go to each one of you because this would take 7 hours and I don't have that time. So a lot of these questions are going to be Gooch. So I'm just going to kind of mediate. I want you guys to discuss among yourself. We're going to start with this one, and I am actually going to answer this one because I had an answer for this. Why do you care so much about people changing their theme? Gooch, Flojo, man, you are identified by your theme. You are iconic by your theme. You think about The Rock right now. Think about Stone Cold Steve Austin. What's the first thing that pops into your mind? It's the theme. Yeah, exactly right. It's the theme. It's the fucking theme. When we think of Lotus Flojo, you want to complain about not having a direction? Your biggest piece of the direction was your appearance, which is great. Your character, like at its core, is great, and your theme, your entrance, it was great. And then when you say, why do you care so much about changing your theme? That's why, because you just lose all of that identity. The only identity we have to apply to you is that theme. The only time you should be applying your, changing your theme is when you're already established, when we know who you are. Like Cassidy Hayes, he changed his theme, he's still Cassidy Hayes. We know who he is. Court Martial, he changed his theme, we still know he's Court Martial. Lotus Flojo, I know you and I love your character by that click, right when your interest starts. Like I just start dancing, I love it. It's great. That's why. And same with Bobby Minio. That's why when the pay-per-view went, when the theme kicked up, H2O, Bobby Minio, when the theme kicks up, I'm ready. There's a lot to be said about when the theme is not even playing yet. The excitement that you have for the theme to start playing, and then this theme kicks in and they decided to change it, and now you're not excited anymore.
Don't change. Keep changes to places you want your character to change, or just in my case, I didn't change it because my character changed. I changed it because my theme was dog shit and because I thought I had to use royalty-free music.
And now everything is different. Now everything changes once you realize that you can use certain themes. You just gotta look around.
I was about to say there were like meaty trumpets and like Sergeant Slaughter drums. I'm so happy that we didn't have to do that.
I hated my old theme when I came back and I was told, hey, you got to start using different music due to these policies. Like, no, let's go find this. Ultimately, Trance is the one who found the current theme that I'm using, and I
David Hasselhoff.
Fucking genius.
Vaporwave.
Exactly. I don't know what you just said, but I know I liked it.
Like I said, I don't remember the lyrics. It's just something about True Survivor. And
no, it's dominoes falling, riots in the streets, blah 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 blah. I'm already popping by that moment. It's like, yeah, dance along, good to go.
But I listen. I'll take over here just because I had a lot to say about this question. I want to give it to you guys for the rest of the go, especially you, Gooch. You didn't say anything yet, but because I know it was your question, but I still want you to touch in. I'm just going to mediate at this point. The next question is, what do you see? Jamie, your fucking English is awful. What do you see is the biggest detriment? What do you see being the biggest detriment to upcoming rookies? I work with them closely, but I'm more interested in what you guys have to say.
Can I start?
Yeah.
Or you can go first.
Anybody, go ahead.
Okay.
Open forum.
Probably the amount of people on the roster. I think it's going to be even harder to establish themselves, and they have a lot of other groups doing stuff, although it does give them a bigger pool to work with. And the second thing is just being confused, not really knowing what to do. And that's fine. It happens to everyone. I think the first couple weeks are either really exciting if you really, really like the product, or very confusing and rather frightening as you peek into Gen Chat and see all this shit going on. But I think it's important. That's the time you're most likely to quit. Stick it out. It'll become more sense-making after a while, and you'll get into the groove of things. And as a rookie, basically don't worry about people telling you messed up, and don't worry about people, saying things to you. They're usually there to give you advice, and you haven't established yet, so it's no big deal when you mess up. Just take their advice in hand and think about it, consider going with it, and just don't try to let the barks turn into bites by being weird about it and yelling at people whenever they tell you that you look like a deformed baby.
Hey.
I'm sorry, I wasn't talking about you.
I felt like it was directly at me.
But you're not a rookie.
I'm sensitive.
What do you think, Adam? With the rookies,
I know you have I know you have a tremendous answer ready for this. See, I'll be honest. I don't pay attention to the rookies anymore. I used to do what you're currently doing. Hey, how you doing? Welcome to OCW. What do you need? Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I'd ask everybody, and people would respond to me on a good day, and then I might not ever hear from them again, or they'd go on and become established and then flake out. And it became a very frustrating experience just to talk with so many people and throw so many ideas around to them
and have it be nothing. And
then it just becomes a waste upon, my time of continuously going to somebody and saying, are you doing this? You want to try this? Hey, I can help you with this. And then, they go through with it, and like, say you have a match with them. Like, I think last year's a prime example. I went to and said, hey, do you need a match just to kind of get started? Do you need a little introductory promo? And I was just throwing Loki everywhere because I don't think serious. And last year his record was 1 in matches. I seem to recall
it was bad.
Yeah,
that I just want to get a chance to work with, and I don't think more than 1 or 2 that I worked with in any capacity out, and one of them got suspended. So eventually just kind of becomes a drain. And I think the biggest issue that rookies are facing is that the stereotype that they are not worth spending time upon, actually that many of them might need to succeed because we don't know what to do for them.
That's the duality of the Rook, I think, is that Jake's doing a great job helping them out. And like, even if only 1 or 2 and 20 people use that help and effectively use it, then that's worth it. But if you're wasting your effort on 18 people, it gets really tiring really fast. So I mostly just kind of respond to people if they ask me and don't reach out, because I did that a lot last year, and I even made a guy's theme song and then he left. So
there's a lot of contributing factors to, is a rookie going to be successful, and is going to talk about the right kind of people to get involved with and the wrong type of people to get involved with, and dedication to the show. Then don't get mad at us for not showing any interest in your character.
Yeah, no, that's all of that. All of that. I think we all can agree with that. The next question that we have, and I
didn't even answer the question.
I know you did. I know you didn't.
Oh, Jerry, time's up. Let's move on, please.
No, I don't want to move on because Gooch hasn't had a chance to say a whole lot, but I want to give like a 2-minute limit for all of these because this can kind of go out of hand in my experience. So, Gooch, I'm going to give you the floor on this next question. Just 2 minutes to say whatever you want. This is your question too. Characters that you see being successful by the end of the season. I want to limit this to not just rookies, but newer people. So let's say people that were here 1 year or before. So there are a few of us that are wrestlers like Damian Bourne, Mystico, me, Russ Colt, like those people. Characters that you see being successful by the end of the season. We'll include all those people, plus the rookies. Gooch, I'll give you 2 minutes, and then we'll open it up. Go ahead.
Let's see. Well, we're not counting alts, right?
Anybody you want, man.
No.
If they're over, they're over. If they're over, they're over. I'm interested in hearing what you have to say.
Right. I guess it's gonna be in that 1 year-ish thing. So
yeah.
I have 30 seconds left.
Okay, I want to say Bray.
Okay.
Bray?
No. I refuse to accept that answer.
Yeah, no, I can't. I can't have you say Bray. Like I'll give you more time, but Bray has been here for a very long time, and on one hand, I'm interested to hear what you have to say, and I'm going to let you finish. I feel like Kanye.
I'm going to let you finish.
Right, I'm going to let you finish just because I'm interested in why you would say Bray. But on the other hand, Bray is not really the point of this question. It comes off as very baby clickish. We want to shit on the baby click for only doing their own thing. But you setting the example of being, oh, it's just me, Bray, and my friends, like that's whack. So I'm going to let you explain yourself, and then we'll go on there. Go ahead.
I've only been here 2 years, but Bray has been flaking for the better part of last season. So see him doing more of what he wants to do. Hey, stop clapping, okay? Yeah, like I said, he's been flaking for the last season, so he's really stepping up this time around.
Okay. Anybody else you have in mind?
Far as females, I want to say either Ashley Moore or Belle. Just
Okay.
I mean, I like the they're Europeans too, and then they got the mean girl look down. Especially Ashley Moore. Yeah, especially Ashley Moore. Dickums.
All right, let me throw mine in here.
Go ahead. You got 120 seconds. Go ahead.
Take them long. Empress already made a huge impact. And will continue to improve. Love the video at work. Already surpassed Velk as the most important female on the roster. No doubt in my mind. I'll go with Elliot Parker because he is someone who talks, gets a lot of information out there to him. People discuss things with him, and he's receptive to that. So that is something that he does well, and he's going to continue to do it. He's got this little look that people have, I wouldn't say responded positively to, but he's taken in stride, and hopefully things will continue to improve for him. Ashley Moore also deserves a shout out for the work that she's done, and of course Valkyrie. Kidding about what I said earlier, Valkyrie remains to be the single most important female CAW on the roster, and she's relatively new to this. Therefore, it's hard not to say that by the end of the year she will not be than she actually is.
Angus, 120 seconds on the clock. Characters you see being most successful by the end of the season.
There's a lot of people. Who's the guy who has the Danganronpa bear back? He's got the dual color tire. He has really good attires. I hope he sticks around despite the situation with his team. Yeah, he's got a really good attire. I hope he sticks around. Mark Reese, Empress. I think Bell and Moore benefit a lot from Alex's involvement, so we'll see if they're able to self-direct as well as they participate. Though they have been, quite good. Like I think it's quite a bit guided. Empress definitely, Mark Reese definitely. I can agree with Parker if he stays around. I'm not sure. We don't know yet. Of course, you never know. Trying to think of other. I'm gonna miss a lot of people, but generally, just there's a lot of people who are quality and reliable. I don't think Maxwell counts as someone I think would see succeed because he's an ultimate long-time guy, but he can also establish himself more. Has a gimmick that I think needs more establishment. Has a lot of potential. I'm going to forget a lot of names. Basically, there's 15 to 20 people deserve to being mentioned in this list.
Okay. This is going to be cheating in my section here. I'm not.
You say yourself, I'm going to clap for you, but I'm also going to make fun of you.
Listen.
Don't say Ty Breeze either.
Listen. This is going to be cheating.
Tay Breezy. Right? Tay Breezy?
Thank you, Adam.
Breezy.
Fuck you, Gooch. Don't even get my character right. This is going to be cheating based on all of the work that I do with rookies, but the people that not necessarily are draws, and that's why this is interesting because you guys are talking about people that are drawing right now, and I know people that are invested in it and that are working towards that point. We have Mark Reese, which was brought up. Empress is probably at the very top of this list of people who not only draw, but are people that are going to be the future of OCW. The future of OCW right now in this current rookie class is Empress. That's what we have. But amongst the others who are kind of wild cards right now, but the ones that I do think are going to succeed, that are showing interest, that are really putting out for OCW, the ones that are really going above and beyond compared to the rookies that I've spoken to. Outside of Mark Reese and Empress, Solomon Kane. Kane's a big one. Solomon Kane's done a lot of good video work. He's put a lot of good effort into it, and he's been talking to me a lot.
Billy Saturn. I forgot Billy Saturn. Yes,
Billy Saturn was the next name on my list. Billy Saturn is up there. He's had some questionable promos at this point, with the whole power struggle thing, but he's not really in the position to be a part of that. Joshua Tucker, JT, the hashtag Let's Go, that guy. He's
the jogging guy. Yeah,
yes.
I have a bad memory.
Yeah, let's go. That's one of my
favorite. All right, Slim Jim.
That's right. That's one of my favorite rookies right now. So Solomon Kane, Salami Kane. I'm sorry, Empress. Joshua Tucker, JT, Billy Saturn, and there's another name I want to get in here. Maddie.
I'm sorry,
Wrestling.
but you're
I know. But I'm also moderating this, so fuck you. There's one more name I want to get in this. There's one more name. Maddie Wrestling, Matthew May. This guy is one of the most invested dudes I've seen in OCW in the rookie class that I've seen. So keep an eye out for Maddie May, Matthew Wrestling.
Is that
He's new. He's very new. But we're gonna move on.
Is that the guy who couldn't use the forum?
He called me out. No, he's not. Adam called me out, so we're gonna move on. Adam called me out. I'm gonna start picking questions out because we're already going way too far. Let's do. Let's see. What's it like to compete on Resolution? This is a great one. This is very good. I want to give everybody 2 minutes on this, so we'll start with Adam. Go ahead.
I've lost at every resolution I've been at, so I might not be the best person to give you any sort of, I don't know, inspirational speech about how wonderful it is. But it does make you feel, when you see the card come out and you realize that you're on the card, it does make you feel pretty good to know that you're going to be on the card, because ultimately it showcases that there was somebody somewhere, one person maybe, Jay, who decided that you were important enough to be on said card, and that is a good feeling. I'm short and simple. I'm still texting Cass.
Okay, Gooch, I don't know if you've competed on... Gooch, have you competed on Resolution?
That's why I brought it up, because I noticed that I'm the only person in my rookie class that has never competed.
Really?
Well, who's in your rookie class? Put the phone down, buddy.
Valkyrie, Cole Jackman.
Valkyrie's not in your rookie class.
Yes, she is.
No, she's not.
We graduated.
She's not. She was the year afterwards.
Oh, we graduated the same year.
It's because she was very, very, very good.
Okay, if Valkyrie is in your rookie class, then I am in your rookie class, and you were already a wrestler by the time that I was here.
Time is a flat circle.
All of you are rookies.
I was a rookie too.
Wow. Okay. Well, welcome
Jesus.
to the club,
Okay,
man.
Valkyrie then.
Yeah. Shit. Okay. Okay. Well, we'll go to Angus then, because I want to just make this succinct, because we are terrible at podcasts. Court, what's it like to perform? And you fought the Steve last year. What's it like to fight on Lucian?
My answer is going to be very underwhelming, because at that point I was still quite a rookie, didn't really know what was going on, didn't know how important it was, and didn't know how to do a feud with him. And
Steve is from my state.
He was just coming back, so like he wasn't that great at the game, and I was even quite easily. We had to try to train him up, and it would. I basically think I really wish I was fighting this Steve at Lucian this year, because I would have been able to build a really good thing toward it. But last year I didn't really appreciate what I had and didn't promo enough about it. I mean, we had promos, but I didn't make it into the big deal it should have been. So for me, last Resolution was like at a time in my career where I was just like, oh hey, a free pay-per-view for a legend, and that's cool. He's a fun guy to talk to. So yeah, I didn't really get the in awe feeling or the excitement or anything, because I didn't really know how to work with the thing that landed in my lap.
What about you, Court? Have you been on Lucian?
Yeah, I have.
Like I said, this was no. You make courts?
Did you say courts or
Quartz.
Just say Jake. Just say Jake.
Mr. Jake.
Yeah, I have. I was on Lucian Prime last year, my rookie year. I fought a triple threat match between Tyson Wagner and Russ Cole. Yes, a triple threat match was between Tyson Wagner and Russ Cole.
That doesn't sound right.
No,
don't you mean a handicap match?
No, I know what I'm saying. It was
two white belts beating up a black man.
The 3 weeks prior wasn't. The 3 weeks prior was an entire build between myself, Russ Cole, and Tyson Wagner. All three of us had matches against one another. I had beaten both of them. Russ Cole and Tyson Wagner had split wins and losses against each other. So it was like a big thing. And then once we got there, we had some promos that were kind of subtle that people didn't really get. And then once Resolution happened, we had an in-ring thing, which I thought was awesome, but nobody probably saw because it was Prime, whatever, where we did face-to-face, and it was Russ Cole in the Jitsu courts, and then bam, it became a handicap match about 6 minutes in, and that was the birth.
That was a handicap match.
Yes, no, about 7 minutes in, it was a birth. It was the birth of CQC, and I don't want to I don't want to go over my 2 minutes. We went face to face after about 7 minutes in the match, and we went face to face, and then we split, and then we went outside and we started doing double team moves to Tyson Wagner, which I thought was awesome. It was a big heel move. It was big. It was like that was
Black
it.
Lives Matter.
Yeah,
that's
that was
a good way to do it mid-match.
Yeah, that was CQC. That was where CQC started. That was Resolution 12. That was where CQC began. And yes, I'm very proud of that performance. Although the performance ended in me being tossed out of the ring and Tyson Wagner doing a pickup finisher on on Russ Cole for the win.
It's funny how that stuff really wraps around.
It's crazy,
it?
and that's why I love OCW because
Poetic almost.
It is.
It's funny because he's French.
It's poetic because that's one of the reasons I love OCW is because the whole thing that we have with the contention between Jitsu Courts and Russ Cole right now is that Jitsu Courts is always on the outside of the ring when Russ Cole gets pinned, and that's where it began. And then Tyson Wagner, who is the current tag team champion, he got suspended and came back this season because of that resolution match. So it all came full circle, and I thought it was a great story and it was awesome. But because of the way the shitty match happened, it's sort of a greatness. It just kind of ruined the whole thing. But anyway, yes, I've competed at Resolution. It was a total honor. I went all out for my entrance. It was fucking amazing. I am hoping that I get booked on the Resolution card for this year. But
I call you trash because it's a disservice to trash. That was trash. You just described trash.
Right,
you just became a tame team from trash.
But anyway, I don't want to
one person, and then you lost to that one person.
I don't want to overstep my bounds too much, but I thought everything was a great story, and that's where we are here now, more than a year or less, like 11 months later, whatever. So we'll move on to the next question. I'm going to just cherry pick here because we're already an hour in.
Well, then stop talking about how much time we've gone over and just start asking the damn questions.
Fine.
Well, it wasn't my fault.
I apologize. And it's all FloJo questions. Here we go. This is a very good one. I'm interested to hear your guys' comments. I have no comments on this, but I'm interested to hear yours. If you're not feuding with anyone, is it harder to build your character? Go ahead, Adam.
No, it's not harder to build your character. It's hard to get traction and actually make progress up the card. But in terms of who you actually are and who you want to be, that's much easier to convey actually when you're not in a story because you're not beholden to anybody else's what that person needs from you in a promo. You don't have to meet that now. Now you're kind of free to establish more of the smaller elements of your character and develop it. So, no, not necessarily. If you want to move up the card, however, well, yeah, then that becomes a much more difficult task. But if you're not feuding, by all means, you take your time to kind of work out kind of some of the smaller elements of who you are.
Gooch.
Well, I guess so. No, it's what Adam says. Like for me, I wasn't really doing much between after fighting Dragana and then all that stuff with the ambition. So me doing something with Empress and Empress, Valkyrie, Ashley. I'm sorry, I ain't got much.
I basically agree with what B17 said. When you're a rookie or when you're in a blank space, it's especially if you're heel, it's pretty not easy, but definitely very possible to establish your character. Especially as a rookie, it might be the best thing to do some solo promos so we know who you are before we see who you're going to bounce off against. Debuts, and like when Court came in, he just established it by saying a lot of things Jay had to censor in the shows. But you can definitely establish your character without a feud. You establish your character, then once people know who you are, I would say then you go for it.
Look at Rex. Like Rex didn't have a feud for a majority of the start of the year, but he slowly transitioned into what he is now, and then he got involved in a feud, which only furthered what he was. It's essentially the best example that I could provide. It's like, he did what he did by himself, took some time away from things. He got into a tag team, furthered his character then. But none of that would have meant going down that path to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
back to you.
Yeah, absolutely. I just want to move on here. So to cap off Thirstcast, I think it would be more than appropriate to talk about just backstage in general. I know we kind of touched on a little bit about Turmoil backstage at the beginning, but because we have such a varying cast of characters, I've been on both for a while, but at the beginning I was all Riot. Court's been all Riot to begin with, and you two have been all Turmoil for the whole time. When I first joined Turmoil, I thought everything was fine because I love all of you guys. You guys are great. You're easy to talk to, whatever. But then digging in deeper, it's clearly more contentious. And I don't want any specific stories or anything stupid like to build up heat. I just want general explanations as to why things don't work and why there are problems and why things work. Like, I want positives and negatives, just a kind of a general outlook on the backstage of OCW, like things you don't see when you watch Riot and Turmoil every week, and things you don't see when we get to enjoy the shows on live stream on the pay-per-view every week. So just same direction that we've gone the whole time. I want to start with Adam because he has a lot of experience with the backstage.
3
stuff.
seconds to get more water.
That's fine. That's fine. We'll start with Adam. Adam has more than enough time.
Thank you. I mean, if you're digging, you're asking about me and Trance.
No, I'm not digging. That's what I'm saying. I'm not digging. I don't want any specific stories. You can give me specific stories, but I just want to make it clear I'm not asking for anything specifically. I just want your experience because it was interesting to me when the other day when we were talking in the main chat that I have such a different experience than you do backstage with these people. I have a great relationship with several people that you have a bad relationship with, and vice versa, and everything's different for everybody. So I just I think it's interesting. Maybe the people listening will think it's interesting. So just generally, backstage in OCW. Right. Go ahead.
All right. Well, let me establish this. Before tonight, I just spent like 20-30 minutes texting Cass, back and forth, like, what the hell's going on? And without going into specifics, what he's telling me is going on on Riot is exactly what I feel happens on Turmoil. And that's kind of an eye-opening experience for me because if I had to break it down, Turmoil, I've said in the past, they don't really like each other. And maybe that's taking it a bit too far and exaggerating it, embellishing it perhaps.
I agree.
Maybe that it's exaggerating or that Turmoil doesn't really like each other. That was a question for you.
Are you asking?
What point are you agreeing with?
Well,
it was Gooch. She said it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I it's kind of hard to work with people on Turmoil. When I got here,
wow.
Even when Flojo character was still popular, it did feel like people didn't want to work with me or anything up until like later on that year. So it was like I had a feuding with this other character, but she's gone now. And then I did the whole Flojo Invitational, and then after that was pretty much it. Which is why I've been fighting Antifa and all this crazy stuff.
Here's the thing that I can say that is definitely different between PlayStation and Xbox, because I have recently actually started playing more on Xbox with the Division, and when I jump over to Xbox to play, it is fun. You go into the party with Kent, Cass, Spider. Has been in there a few times. Drago, comes in there. It's fun. They're talking. They're going at each other. They're going back and forth with each other, and it's no harm, no foul, because everyone's allowing everything to just kind of roll off their backs. They've been together so long that they have a camaraderie that Turmoil does not have anymore. The camaraderie that was present at one point no longer truly exists because there's so many different cliques within Turmoil. And
yeah, I noticed that too. I'm sorry, Adam.
they had the ability to work relatively well with. Because I gotta go for a second though, so Gooch, go ahead, take over for a second.
But yeah, whenever I dark match in a Turmoil, well, we just have our matches and we say GG. We don't really talk because I make mistakes in the ring and nobody really points it out up until the end of the match. So I just say I'm sorry, and then we go again. We don't really joke around or anything. And the only time we do joke around is whenever Jake or Jamie gets involved, and Adam, we just BS. But everybody takes DMs on the PS4 in a little bit too seriously. Like, yeah, I know I should get better at the game, but I also want to have fun.
There's a weird tension between people when it comes to DMing on the PS4, because I think a lot of people are confused about what the nature of OCW is. Yeah, you have to win to get to that final stage, but you also create a story along the lines. And recently when Trance was calling me thirsty and stuff, I took it personal because that's a friend of mine that was coming out and saying these things, and I had no understanding of why these things were being said. So I went, and first thing I did was I asked two people I knew that would not bullshit me in the slightest. I went to Quartz and was told, no, you're competitive, but you're not thirsty. You play within the rules. I'm like, thank you, I appreciate that. I went to Dan, someone that I know would not bullshit me in the slightest. No, you're no more thirsty than anybody else is, at least when I played you. And that meant a lot to me. But Jamie kept on going after me, and I wasn't understanding why this was happening. So him and I had some issues. Got back to me that, asked some people as well, and it was a resounding no. And now that that's been established, it's easier to overcome, and it's easier for me to have a relationship with Jamie now, because now I get the sense that he's just saying these things to
rile you up.
But
he definitely has a different definition of thirsty than most people.
He and I were able to do that with each other and not get upset. There's just a tension there that exists, and I think it exists because of kind of broken up in his last couple of months. And that's not to say that it's dysfunctional or that it's toxic. By no means is it like that. We can all work together. Jamie and I can work together. I can work with just about anybody on Turmoil. That's not the issue. The issue is that everyone just kind of keeps to themselves, and then that means that they support their small group. This weird, not necessarily supporting everybody, or group thing issue. Like, you should find characters outside of the people that you enjoy, because ultimately your opinions match with your friends' opinions in many instances. But yeah, like you should be able to look outside your zone and say, I like what this person is doing. Like Rex and I, we don't spend much time talking to each other, but I'm a huge supporter of him because of what he's done. Code talk much before we started feuding, and then I was like, I like what he's doing. I want to go and I want to work with him on this. So that's one of the things that I do feel is missing on Turmoil, a communication between the individual groups. And I said this last night, there is no glue that necessarily holds everyone together. Like, there's not that one person that can kind of mesh with one group and then go over to the other group.
The Spider.
Spider was like that, because I see Spider in all different sorts of chats, and people get around and talk with him, and he can kind of blend into any kind of area. And we don't necessarily have that on Turmoil. So that is why those things take place.
I want to add one
I don't
thing.
even think there really is an answer to it.
Well, I'll allow Gooch to add one thing. This went way over 2 minutes. I see you as the glue. I see you and Jamie as like the collective glue, but that's just my perspective. It's just one. Yeah. You guys are the angry glue. So before we move on to Angus about what he thinks about the backstage thing and how everything works from the Riot perspective, because he does read the product and he sees everything that's going on in the chat. Gooch, go ahead. Whatever you wanted to say.
Like sometimes when I DM with Bray or something, he says I'm not aggressive enough, and I still don't really understand what he means because I'm trying not to.
I can't recall all your matches off the top of my head. I think for you, it's mostly reversal management, I notice, and you're non-aggressive as a result of bad reversal management. Like, you'll panic, and you'll reverse one when you're about to get one, and then you'll lose two, and then you'll start kind of backing off and being scared about it. So I think it's more of a situation of just manage your reversals, and then you can know when to press the offense.
That is true. Just a quick thing. I didn't want to get into like the gameplay thing, but Gooch, with you specifically, Adam taught me the aggressiveness when I started DMing with him when I got my PS4. It's going at the opponent once the reset really starts. It's not going to corner and then resetting in that sense. It's like take a few steps back and then go right back at it. Keep the pace going. Don't ever slow anything down. You're not aggressive in the sense that you're never attacking to attack. You kind of just wane, and it seems like we can watch your matches and see the moments that you're afraid to do things. I don't know if I'm the only one that sees that, but I'm watching it, and as a person that plays the game, I'm like, he should have done that here, or he should have gone at him here. Well, there's certain moments that the players are watching that we can say, you should have been more aggressive in this point, and that's where it's difficult to
know when to take your advantage. If your opponent is down on reversals and you need to get some damage in, don't be afraid to pick up and hit X a bunch of times.
Let me throw this in here, and you see this more in multi-man matches. You see plenty of people playing not to lose. Playing to win. You'll see them playing not to lose, meaning that they will not take the necessary risks to get involved unless and Jamie talks about this, like, unless they have a long range move where they feel safe, and they'll go all the way to the corner and they won't move out of it because they know that they have a safety net by which they can get out of things, and they can hit that long range duck under, or they can hit that long range strike. And that comes down to, one, you're not being aggressive in that case, and you're also you're so worried about winning that you've backed all the way up and you're making the match look bad. And if you do it multiple times, like I get, you do it once to kind of throw somebody off their game, twice to kind of get an advantage here and there. But there's plenty of people who do it consistently every single match, and it looks bad.
Yeah, it's hard for you.
It does.
It's hard for me to keep my head during matches, so I understand that, but I just kind of try to settle myself down and say it's not about winning or losing, it's about having a good match first, and then if I can win, good. But if winning precludes a good match, then...
Right, and I will be very honest. When I play to win. I really do. I want to win my matches. That's not me making any statement about Thirsty. I still want to have a good-looking match, but ultimately, I want to be competitive. I want to be good at the game. I want to win.
Right, but not at the cost of making it look bad.
Is that what you mean, Adam?
What's that?
Is that what you were trying to tell me the last couple of days?
Yeah. When I play DMs with people, I'm constantly walking forward, and there's been plenty of people who say, you're being thirsty, you're not giving me enough space. I am playing a game where I'm being aggressive with it, and I'm moving forward constantly. If you choose to move backwards in those cases and run away from me, well, that's your choice. What I'm doing then.
I think the key is... Sorry.
Good.
Okay, I was just going to say, what I think the key about that is consistency. Like, if people always reset close, like I just played Spider and he mostly resets mid-ring or closer, then it's easy to adjust to and deal with. But if you do like the KD and it's just like sometimes maybe far, sometimes maybe right in your face, sometimes maybe nothing, it's like really throws you off your game, makes you feel like you're being cheated at resets. But I don't notice that with many people. It's just some people do it far, some people do it close. I think both are fine. Just be consistent.
Saying all of that and putting all of that into perspective is ultimately people will perceive what is thirsty, what is a desire to win at an unreasonable cost in many different ways. Drago is the best player I've ever played at this game. He is so incredibly good at this game, but there is one thing that he will do on occasion that some people might deem as thirsty. I don't. The grapple, he will do a very quick drop kick because he'll catch you on your way in. I don't consider that thirsty, but there are people who will say, oh, how is that fair? He missed his grapple. I have the advantage. Well, no, he took the advantage right back by doing a quick move. Some people look at that and say, me, I don't. However, I want everyone to be aware of something. When you're playing, the only person that can tell is if you're thirsty is you yourself. If you yourself don't feel you are, in many cases, you're probably not. And there's too many people who get caught up in this concept of saying this person's just playing straight to win. And I've learned not to say those kind of things. I've learned not to be like that because ultimately it's unfair to say those kinds of things. If you are thirsty, you will know you are because you won't have any majors in your moveset. You will have pretty much nothing but duck unders in your moveset, and you can look at yourself and you can figure it out pretty quickly. Now, that is different from I'm not using my major moves unless you have less than, and that is different than having a couple of dunk unders per match. That is different than doing a couple of combos per match. We have Damian Bourne in DM chats who's going off on people for doing these things once or twice. We have Jamie going off on people for doing these things once or twice per match.
Yeah, Jamie doesn't like people to do moves after they miss, and I'm just like, that is like the least possible thing to complain about. Like, if I miss and then you miss, I'm well within my rights to hit you, or if I miss and you can't hit me while I'm missing. Like, nah, I'm just gonna hit X again, dude.
That's why I'm very interested in hearing Court's Angus's thing. So just to cap everything off, and this has been an incredibly insightful podcast, at least for me, so hopefully everybody else gets it. Just to stay on topic, because you didn't really get your chance. The backstage, Angus, just how you're experiencing it and how things go, and based almost purely on what me, B17 and Gooch had to say. What are your experiences?
I'm not on Turmoil, so I don't know. I find when I'm working with most people, some people can be more communicative, definitely. When I say, what do you think about X? I don't want to wait 3 days to reply on what I think about X. But generally, most people are fine to work with and easy to work with. My personal kind of disenfranchisement and getting tired of the OCW is not necessarily related to that, more the community and the fact that I feel that I am required to commit X amount of energy to it and trying to plan things out and worrying about what X person thinks of this or whether they'll get on my ass for that or whatever. I don't really know what to say about Turmoil backstage compared to Riot. I think it's fine. I guess I just wish people were
thoughts. You can just give Riot like purely.
I just wish
as a comparison.
Whenever I message someone or whenever I try to get into a feud or promo with people, most of the time they're perfectly friendly about it. I think the number one thing is if I ask for ideas, if you have any, please give me them. If I'm asking for ideas, it's because I don't have any. Don't just not reply, man. That kills me because I don't always have ideas. And sometimes I'm sitting here for a week just trying to think of what I should do next. And yeah, I just generally, I'd really appreciate that sort of people who are proactive and going with their own end of things. As far as backstage in chat and stuff, I don't know. I just wish people were a bit less constantly aggressive, kayfabe or shoot about everything. And it's like trying to one-up each other, like that fucking Corgi video. It's like, are we really going to start a thing about this or about that? And somebody has to yell at somebody for that. And then it's, with the right people, I'm in chat. It's like any internet chat. It's fun. I'm hanging out, Drago or Spider, easy to deal with and funny. And the joke is just the joke. And then a lot of people just, I have to win everything. I have to win. I have to win. I have to win by making the person feel bad. I gotta win. I gotta win. Like, it's a social interaction. It's not a fucking pinball table. You don't have to win. You don't have to beat the other guy by one-upping them constantly, by annoying them or insulting them or whatever. It's annoying. It's jackassery. And it makes me really fucking tired of dealing with anybody who does that. There's not that many people, but I'm generally really tired of OCW in a lot of ways. But
it's interesting. But it's interesting to put out there, like whether people agree with you or disagree with you. It's interesting to put out there one way or another, because it's the way that it's not just you. Certainly, there's got to be other people that feel that way. So we have gone way over what I thought we would go over. I'm sorry we couldn't get to all the questions that were in the Ask Podcast question, because I'm not good at this.
I think you have to have less people if you want to get it to go around fast.
Yeah. No, it's not less people. It's just less structure. I didn't have a lot of structure with this.
So people.
Well, I mean, let's be honest. The first 20, 30 minutes was me responding.
Yeah, the cast thing.
Cassie is fucking leaving and texting Cassie. So thanks for dropping that on me.
Yeah,
ultimately, it's all right though. So
I'm sorry. So before we get out of here, you know, I can say I'll give you a certain amount of time, but nobody's going to honor that. So does anybody else have anything to go before we go? Like, we went all over the place, which I think is good for a podcast in a lot of ways, but in other ways, it's kind of like, you know, it is all over the place.
Stop. So. You don't even defend it. It's shit, and that's okay, because you know what? We tried. And my relationship, anyways, it counted.
Yeah, so if anybody has anything else before we go, we will end the shit Thirstcast, as Adam called it, and
I'm okay with that.
Yeah, me too.
Well, yeah, two things. Couple more things.
Go ahead, Gooch.
I think I'm gonna start punching people more. When I pick them up, just do a combo or something.
It's an important tool.
Yeah, make my match look good. Yeah,
okay, that's number one. What's number two?
Xbox people are good at giving advice.
They're much better at giving advice than PS4 people, no doubt there.
But that can be positive and negative. So PS4 people, if you're hearing this, don't just be pissy about it. You know,
I also should mention,
try and be nice.
I do think Turmoil is better than Riot right now for consistency and for main storylines. It's still pretty good.
Negative?
Yeah.
That's why we brought you on. I knew you had...
though. All the legends are on. All the legends are on Riot, so
legends don't necessarily matter as much as the momentum behind the story that they're in.
Listen, that's why I wanted to bring Angus on, because I know he had the opinions that he did, and I knew they were important. So hopefully somebody takes something from the podcast, one way or another. I didn't mean to hijack this from you, Adam, but
no, by all means, you had to, because I wasn't even here for like the first 30 minutes. I was texting Cass like, what the fuck is going on, kids? I don't understand why any of this is happening. I thought we were supposed to have a match.
He fucked me last night with the J.A. Sada thing. And
I do think we could probably spread those jobs between different people, so you're not doing 800 things.
I agree.
No shit, why'd you take my job from me? This essentially feels like job number 6 has been fired.
Just get B17 to do it again. Why not? We can trust him.
Listen, I didn't do anything. He gave me everything at once, and then I just wanted to do it all, and I told Adam this morning, I was like, I'm just going to go in and clear calls, and he said okay. So I was like, all right.
That's all I said. Like, fuck it. That means less work for me to do.
Yeah,
you can do it.
That's what I'm thinking.
Then I felt bad about 3 hours later after I woke up. I was like, wait a second.
No, but it's like it's less work for
Jake
you.
Jake is running LCW. We're going into the ground, ladies and gentlemen.
Everyone needs to share the load, lest you get a workplace injury. And OCW really doesn't want to pay out insurance or benefits.
Like at this point, it's going to be one of those days. If Court falls, all the keys to the kingdom are going to fall with him.
No, not at all. That's Jay. Jay has made sure that that's never going to be a problem. But we are at 90 minutes, so nearly 100 minutes. We've gone a long time, and I hope everybody.
You said 2 hours.
I have a lot of words inside of my bum.
Right. We had even a lot of stuff that we couldn't get out, so we're gonna save that for the next Thirstcast. Thank you for everybody coming on in this makeshift podcast that we did. Apologies to everybody for putting you on the spots with a lot of the stuff, but hopefully everybody finds it enjoyable, and
make sure you turn the music down too.
Cream of the crop, rise to the top.
Yeah.
Sometimes maybe good, sometimes maybe shit.
Sometimes maybe good, sometimes maybe shit. The music is being played at the same time as the voices, so it's
good. So they shall fill in over Gooch.
I think I shouldn't have played.
Right. So Gooch, I'm actually going to cut Gooch out of this entirely.
That would make it go a lot faster. I think we should definitely do that. While you're at it, cut Port out too.
Hey,
and this conversation will go double fast.
Yeah, I know. But
welcome to the 45-minute podcast with me and Adam.
Just cut me out too, and it's just you talking to yourself and getting your own answers.
I'm used to writing things down.
I'm the only color commentary on this podcast.
That's right. Yeah, we got one minority here. Let's fucking relax. Okay.
Black and white are both shades.
We've gone way too far, so I'm going to cut it here. Thank you for listening. I'm going to send this to Jay. Whenever it airs, it airs. Hopefully you're not taking the Cassidy Hayes news as shockingly as I did last night on April 12th. And
I took it hard, buddy.
Yeah, he killed me last night. I was in tears. But anyway, this has been Thirstcast 3 or 4, depending on when Jay wants to air things.
It doesn't matter because we're going to be canceled next week anyways.
That's right. We're always canceled. Thank you, everybody. Peace.
And it won't be my fault.
It's your fault.
It's always your fault, Gooch.
All right.
Fucking kidding me. Fucking Cass is gone. This is horrible.